Every market has its cheat code. In stocks, it's valuation ratios like P/E. In real estate, it's rent to price. But what about Bitcoin? It has no earnings, no dividends, no balance sheet. So how do we know if Bitcoin is cheap or dangerously overvalued? For more than a decade, one family of metrics has quietly mapped every boom and bust in Bitcoin's history. It has spotted euphoric tops, it has highlighted despairing bottoms, and it's still doing so today. That metric is MVRV, and in this video, I'll break down why it's considered the most powerful on-chain tool ever created, how it works, and, most importantly, what it tells us about Bitcoin right now. Let's start at the core, the MVRV ratio. MVRV stands for market value to realized value. Market value is simple. It's Bitcoin's total market cap, price times circulating supply. Realized value is the secret sauce. It doesn't care about the current market price. Instead, it looks at every coin on the blockchain and records the last time it moved, essentially the cost basis of that coin. Add it all up and you get the realized cap, which reflects what investors actually paid. Now divide the flashy market cap by the grounded realized cap. That's MVRV. Why is this so powerful? Because it's not just about price. It's about psychology. When MVRV is high, it means the market is far above what holders paid. Greed is dominant. People are sitting on big profits, and temptation to sell grows. When MVRV is low, it means the market is near or below cost. Fear dominates. Holders are underwater, and capitulation is in the air. Historically, values above 3.5 flagged cycle tops, while values near or below 1 flagged cycle bottoms. It's almost like an X-ray machine for Bitcoin's emotional state. Next comes the refinement, the MVRV Z-Score. Raw ratios are good, but sometimes we want to know just how extreme is this compared to history. That's what Z-Score does. It takes the deviation of market value from realized value and standardizes it by volatility. In plain English, it measures how unusual the current price is, statistically speaking. Think of it like measuring how many standard deviations we are from normal. In 2013, 2014, 2017, and 2021, Z-Score screamed red hot, exactly when Bitcoin was at euphoric cycle peaks. In deep bear markets like 2015, 2018, and 2022, it collapsed into coal white zones, showing capitulation. The beauty of Z-Score is that it filters out noise. It doesn't just say expensive or cheap, it says this is historically extreme. Traders, investors, even institutions use this as a sanity check. Are we stretched or are we compressed? For a more convenient visual representation, we can also use a Z-Score heat map overlay. Markets aren't just about levels. They're about shifts in energy. That's where MVRV Momentum enters. Instead of focusing on the ratio itself, it tracks its rate of change. Think of momentum like the wind in Bitcoin's sails. If MVRV is rising rapidly, the market is gaining energy. Often the early stages of a bull run. If momentum is fading, the rally is losing steam. Look back. When momentum flipped from negative to positive after the 2018 and 2022 bears, it marked the first stirrings of recovery. Conversely, when momentum rolled over in 2017 and 2021, it foreshadowed major tops. Level of 0.5 statistically captures mid-cycle corrections, while the range of 0.5 to 1.0 signals euphoric peaks. A level of negative 0.5 captures corrections, with capitulations occurring approaching the level of negative 1. Momentum captures the psychology of acceleration, not just where the market is, but where it's going. Now we zoom out to the deltas, which compare price against moving averages of realized value. The 2-year delta is like Bitcoin's gravity line. It runs slowly, smoothing out noise, and has historically nailed the generational bottoms. In 2019 and 2022, price touched or dipped below -1 delta before massive new cycles began. The monthly delta works at the other end. It's fast, capturing short-term panic or blow-off tops. In effect, It maps market sentiment on a 30-day horizon. Together, these two deltas give us both telescope and microscope, the deep cycle structure and the near-term tremors. Finally, let's visualize it. Heatmaps and Sigma Bands compress decades of MVRV data into a single intuitive picture. White means undervaluation, despair, and opportunity. Red means overheating, euphoria, and risk. Now let's overlay the Z-Score Sigma Bands and highlight the statistical thresholds, the guardrails of the cycle, giving us accurate support and resistance zones. We can also visualize the MVRV ratio with a heat map overlay. Whenever Bitcoin lights up icy blue on a heat map, it has been a generational buy. Whenever it glows blood red, it has warned of a peak. These visuals hit the emotional brain. You don't just see numbers, you feel the cycle. So what happens when you stitch all of these lenses together? From 2011 to 2025, the pattern repeats. MVRV ratio identifies stress, Z-score confirms extremes, momentum shows shifts, deltas anchor the cycle, and heat maps make it visceral. It's not about predicting the exact day of a top or bottom. It's about recognizing the zones where human psychology flips, from euphoria to fear, from disbelief to conviction, from capitulation to accumulation. That's the real power of MVRV. It's not just math, it's a mirror held up to market psychology. Of course, no indicator is infallible. External shocks like exchange collapses, ETF-driven liquidity flows, or global recessions can temporarily distort signals. But here's the key. In every cycle, after the chaos settles, MVRV has reasserted itself as the compass. Short-term noise, long-term structure. To wrap up, Bitcoin doesn't have earnings, it doesn't have a balance sheet, but it has a ledger, and inside that ledger are clues to holder psychology, conviction, and pain points. MVRV is the universal framework that turns those clues into a valuation compass. The ratio compares market value to realized value, highlights when Bitcoin is overvalued or undervalued. Z-Score standardizes MVRV relative to history, identifies statistically extreme conditions such as euphoric tops and capitulation bottoms. Momentum tracks the rate of change in MVRV, shows shifts in market energy like early bull phases or fading rallies. It doesn't predict exact dates, but identifies zones of greed, fear, accumulation, and capitulation. MVRV is Bitcoin's psychology compass. It turns on-chain data into actionable insights on market, sentiment, and valuation. That's why it's Bitcoin's most powerful on-chain metric. If you found this breakdown valuable, subscribe to SigmaQuant for more data-driven crypto and macro analysis.